All right, so welcome to Beyond Sports with Paul and Jeremy. You have reached our Thanksgiving special. Today is always going to be one of those good shows. We always like doing these kind of shows. They're always kind of a little bit funny. And I think the last one that we really did was what was that?
Valentine's Day, I think.
Valentine's Day one. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Valentine's Day,
think
right?
Valentine's
So
Day.
yeah, so that one was pretty interesting. So I'm excited to see how this one goes. I know we don't do these too often, but yeah, they're a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys join in. Hopefully you enjoy the show, and definitely add in some of the things that you think. Who are your players that have won some of these awards that we have, right? So we have a bunch of awards. We didn't necessarily list all of them, but we'll talk a little bit about some of those later. And then at the end, we're also going to do some of our picks as well. We might split that into two shows, but just for those that are listening live, be on the lookout for that. So, Jeremy, how excited are you for this show? I know we don't do these that often, but how excited are you for this specific show?
Oh, I'm ready, man. I'm ready. These are our best shows. I feel like people like these the most. They get the most listens, I think. So, yeah, I'm ready. It shows our creativity. We get to kind of step away from just talking about the games and how bad our records are. And we just get to do something fun. So, yeah, I'm excited.
All right, awesome. So I'll give you guys an idea of why we're doing this show, right? It's one of those where we kind of come up with our own little mini things, just to kind of like add a little fun to the NFL season, right? We take it serious sometimes, and now this is the time to kind of like just let our hair down for us that have hair. So for me, I'm just letting my hair grow, I guess. But let's jump in and let's talk about the first award, right? So the first award is going to be the Pardon the Turkey Award, right? So this award is who hasn't done much this season but still deserves a second chance, right? So who hasn't did much but still deserves a second chance? You can choose a player, you can choose a team. Jeremy, who wins this award? Who's getting that pardon from the first part of their season?
I feel like there's a few turkeys I could pardon this year. This is a presidential pardon, right? This is sparing that turkey's life. So we got to look into the whole totality of this turkey's existence, what this turkey's done. I think the Kansas City Chiefs need a pardon. I think the Kansas City Chiefs have had a great run, and this year, not so good. I mean, what are they, 6-4 now? Their record is actually great compared to how they looked on the field.
Yeah.
They look bad to me. So I say, hey, let's give them a break. Let's pardon the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they played a lot of football. I think we're finally seeing where they look a little bit more engaged. Like Kelsey, for some reason, has just looked like he's just not been in it. And of course, Mahomes has been throwing the ball all over the field, throwing left-handed passes, thinking he's going back 2-3 years ago. So I think, just give them a mulligan, give them a do-over. Let's pardon the Chiefs for their terrible play this year, regardless of their record.
I ain't giving the Chiefs nothing, man. They earned that bad record with what they did. Like the Chiefs, they should have been that team that came out and would have been more solid than what they have been going off their pass record. I feel like they've been lazy, like at least let's talk about a turkey that's been actually doing something. Like I remember watching some games and Travis Kelsey couldn't even catch the ball, is hitting his chest. Like I was like,
he's
who
looking terrible.
is this, man? Who is I had no clue what was going on. I was like, man, they must have went back to their high school form or something. Like they're like, let's do a throwback all the way to high school because they weren't catching nothing. They weren't getting open, no separation. And Mahomes just looked bad, but I do agree that they have looked better in this recent game. And I think we talked a little bit about that and talked about how playing against the Cowboys might excite them. They needed that energy to play against a top team to show how they could be competitive. And they beat the Cowboys, so shout out to them with getting that win. And maybe that can kind of help them out. They're on a bye this week, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think they're on a bye.
Here's the thing, though. Apparently, they're not scoring in the second half. If you go back and look at the box scores, they're not actually scoring in the second half. So whatever they've been doing in the first half, if they scored at all, they've not been able to keep that up. So as good as it might look in the outcome, if you just look into the game, it's not that good, actually.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's one of the issues with them, right? And they have to figure that out. They have to figure out why they're getting or why they're becoming so slow in the second half. And even some of the times in the first half, they kind of stall out, you know what I mean? Or play like a very stale type of style. So I think they really need some help. So maybe they should get pardoned. I have another team though that I'm thinking about. Can you think of the team? I'll give you one guess. Who is the team that I'm thinking about?
You're only ever thinking about the Colts, so that's what I'm saying. It's
Nah,
always the
forget them.
Colts.
They ain't getting it. They ain't getting it. The team that I'm pardoning for this year, 2021, is going to be the Minnesota Vikings. So the Minnesota Vikings, right? I think I tell Jeremy this every single week. The Minnesota Vikings are like 19 points from a perfect season. They've lost so many games with less than 3 points. A 3-point deficit. And, like that has to hurt because they're a very solid team, and I think that for me, that's why they get my pardon because they have been playing hard. Some things just haven't went right. It's not like the bum Cowboys or the Chiefs that are just underachieving. Like these guys are going out there. They're just not really having enough to really get over that gap. But they had a couple of really good wins recently, and maybe they're going to try to push. I think they play, wait, I need to see who they play this week. But yeah, so I think
Green Bay.
I think it is Green Bay.
Sorry,
no, yeah, Green Bay was last week. So I need to figure out who the Vikings are playing. Right, but Jordan Jefferson is getting open again, like he was. Dalvin Cook is back there. Kirk Cousins, But I think that with this award and living up to that true meaning of pardoning a turkey and letting them go back out there and really show what they can do, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings on this one. Shout out to Mr. Ray, my old neighbor. So yeah, I'll just add that one in there. So
they're playing at San Francisco.
Oh, at San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I mean, hey, could be a get right for them.
Yeah, that's another team, right? San Francisco kind of started out and now they're trying to come along. They're kind of one of those fooling ones, right? So maybe they get like the runner-up award or something like that, the 49ers, because they have really been a little bit more solid recently. And that should be actually an interesting game, Minnesota versus the 49ers, because both of them are coming along a little bit stronger. And this game could have a lot of implications on later on in the season, especially in the NFC where things are super, super tight, So what do you think about the Vikings? Like, what do you make from them? I know I always kind of talk about what I think about the Vikings and how they've done and how close they are, but do you think that they have a solid team? Can they make the playoffs? And if so, like, what will it take for them to get there?
See, your opinion of the Vikings belongs in the Valentine's episode because you love the Vikings. It's just it's like unconditional, true love, the kind that everybody should have in their life. What do I think about the Vikings? I don't think that they're very good. Now, either they're the best bad team or the worst good team. I'm not sure which, but they're right at that point because the Vikings could beat anybody or they could also lose to anybody by 3 points. It just depends, right? They're always going to be in the game. They have the talent. They have the effort, I believe. Like there's just something at the end of the game that they don't quite have all the time. But if they beat any team, you would not be surprised. And that's the thing about the Vikings. So I would never hitch my wagon to them and be a fan because it's a roller coaster. But I know just from the outside looking in, they can be a very good team. I just don't have much faith in them.
Yeah, I think if you look at the beginning part of their schedule, I feel like they probably had one of the more tough schedules in the NFL so far, right? Like their first game, 3-point loss in overtime to Cincy. Second game, 1-point loss at Arizona, right? The first game was also at Cincy. The third game, won in Seattle. The fourth game, they lost to Cleveland by 7 points, beat the Lions, beat the Panthers, lost to the Cowboys by 4, lost to the Ravens by 3, so and then they beat the Chargers by 7 and then beat Green Bay by 3, right? So they've had kind of one of those tougher schedules, right? When you're saying they lost to Dallas, Baltimore, Arizona, Cincinnati, Cleveland. These are all very good teams record-wise, especially at the times when they lost to them. So I think that the second half of the season is going to look a little bit better. They have San Francisco this week, Detroit, Pittsburgh, you never know with them. Chicago, they have the Rams, who have been kind of up and down. Another one with Green Bay, and then Chicago. So they could finish this season pretty strong. I think they have a good shot to do that. And if they do win majority of those games, what is that? 6, 7, 7 games. They're at 5, so they could get to 12-5. They won all of them. If they can get to 11-6, that might be not too bad. So shout out to the Vikings. You win this year's Partying the Turkey Award. So congrats to you
They
guys.
get it from you. They don't get it from me. I'll let them get taken to slaughter. We'll have a nice little Minnesota Viking turkey for Thanksgiving dinner.
You're a fool for that one. All right. So
I'd also
go ahead.
honorable mention, I guess, also the Ravens. I think the Ravens have had a tough year. I think, they've been playing pretty well considering the injuries that they've had, illness, things like that. The Ravens have done pretty well. I'll give them a do-over too. I'll pardon them.
All right, cool. Yeah, they've lost only 2 games though, right? So
maybe 3.
I think they're 8-2 because I think we assumed that they were going to lose that last game, but Huntley came through and showed Jeremy what he could do. So
he showed me who he was.
Yeah,
first of all,
Jeremy's like, man, I didn't know who this dude was. He's like, turn on the TV. I was like, what? Like,
how wrong was I about Tyler Huntley? Like, who?
Hey,
you ain't got to say all that. Look, you ain't got to say all that. All I know is I was very surprised
by
they're 7-3.
7-3. All right, 7-3. So, they've had some close games. They're getting. Is Lamar playing this week or is he hurt again?
He says he's 120% going to play.
Man, people be lying.
I know. It's only 100 max. What are we doing here?
Hey, I don't know. So let me add in another award now. Shout out to that first award that we had. The next award that we're going to go to, we'll save the second one down to last. So the next award we're going to go to is Karen's potato salad, right? So Karen's potato salad is an interesting concept. It's that potato salad that when you go, you try and you're just like, why is this? Like, nobody eats potato salad. Like, why did you put this on my plate? Like, I'm not a potato salad fan. So Karen's potato salad award goes to the worst addition to a team this year. So Jeremy, this is an interesting award, right? It's not necessarily your typical one, but if you're thinking about the worst additions to a team this year, who would you go with and why?
I'll start off by saying the idea of the Karen's potato salad is the extra stuff that's put in the potato salad, right? I know people say there's raisins in the potato salad. It's done in a way that you don't recognize that it's potato salad, right? So that's a problem. Me personally, potato salad is my least favorite side, period. I won't eat it regardless, right? So I don't care what's in it. I don't care if it's made the traditional way, if it's yellow, right? Or if it's, whatever. I'm not going to mess with it. So this is perfect regardless of who made the potato salad. But in this case, I think of it in terms of, the last couple years, there's been a couple moves that haven't really worked out. And the one that stuck out to me was Cam Newton going to the Patriots. And it actually almost worked. But we knew, right? Like, it didn't make sense, right? It just didn't seem to make sense. So it didn't really work. And when they got rid of him, I think they breathed a sigh of relief because they could then go back to their old ways, and they've done that. They've gotten the type of quarterback that fits their system now, and I think that they're happier with that. So it felt like Cam to the Patriots was kind of not the best move. So that one gets the Karen's Potato Salad Award from me.
For 2020 or for 2021?
For 2020 and 2021, because he was still on the team at the beginning of the year.
Well, they got rid of him though. That's addition by subtraction.
Oh, we're doing that, huh? Addition by subtraction. How many other nice little overused cliches can we use here? But yeah, I mean, it's still, it still fits because it was actually still a part of this year. And the reason I did it is because it stuck out the most. That was the one that felt the most right to me.
Yeah. I'm going to stay on that type of trend. It's a little bit different. But what I'm going to say is the winner of Karen's Potato Salad Award for me, and this is not to my family member, Karen, I love you, by the way, but Karen's Potato Salad Award goes to Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers. I think that they thought they were going to get a second chance. They thought Sam Darnold, even though what he did with the Jets was going to be okay, but what they came to find out is that he wasn't necessarily that good, right? And it's different, right? Like there's other quarterbacks like Josh Rosen has came along and he's not doing anything, but we didn't think he was going to be a starter. In this case, right, what happened was that they literally brought him on, has him as a starter, and he had a couple of highs, but he could never get it going. Now he's injured, and they brought back the old guy that they had to replace him. So I think that that's really kind of messed up and kind of shows where the Carolina Panthers are at. So I think for me, bringing on Sam Darnold, having him lead your team after he has shown nothing, it's just a boneheaded decision. So I think that the Panthers and Sam Darnold have definitely earned this Karen's Potato Salad award. What do you think about them? What do you think about Sam Darnold? And has he earned this award? What is your thoughts?
I think that's a great pick. I really did. And I didn't even think about it. It's because he's not playing right now. So somehow it's out of sight, out of mind. But it's a great pick because it was doomed to fail. Because it was one of those situations where you have a coach who is so confident that he says, you know what, regardless of all the programming that Sam Darnold has had in becoming a loser, I can fix him. I can deprogram him. I can take all that other programming he's had and somehow fix it. But I think what you see in sports is if you learn how to lose early in your career, it's hard to become a winner. And that's kind of the issue. And now the Panthers even gave up on him. So you kind of have the little bit of arrogance from Matt Rule, and then you have the addition of, well, I need to win now. And so he'll be willing to just get off of that plan so he could win immediately. But there was a little bit of arrogance there. So I think it was a great pick by you to give that award. And I didn't think about it, but yeah, I really like that.
So, I think that hopefully Sam Darnold hopefully finds something. Hopefully he elevates his game to the next level. But I just don't really see it happening unless I thought that maybe when the Panthers added him, it'd be kind of good because he wouldn't be in the spotlight of New York. It's more chill. It's more relaxed. He can kind of develop, but he hasn't really did too much of that overall for with his total game. There's some parts that have gotten better, but he's still not a consistent player. And because of that inconsistency, it's just disappointing. So I'm sorry to tell Sam Darnold this year you win the Karen's Potato Salad Award for the worst addition to a team this year. All right.
You know what? We can make that unanimous. How about that? We'll put the stamp of approval on that one. Boom. That's unanimous.
Stamp of approval. Yeah. Definitely that one. I want to give a runners up to Carson Wentz though. Like I know that you're always talking about the Colts thing, but for what we gave up for him, for the inconsistencies, for the amount of times where the plays that he has made or the plays that he has not made has lost the Colts, who have an amazing team, certain games. I think that that's one that he's borderline on that award. Now I like how we kind of went towards the key players on the teams, right? Like the quarterbacks, you know what I mean? I think that those, because they have so much, so much, not necessarily power, right? Since they have so much priority on a team, since they are like the leaders, since they do a little bit of everything, they really should be the ones that are getting a lot of the attention for me. So that's what I thought. Maybe if there was like a defensive linebacker, a defensive front or something like that, maybe, but no, I think Sam Darnold really won this one clearly.
They don't give as much hype to those other positions anyway. I mean, when's the last time we saw a big name, say wide receiver, go to a team and that had a big impact? You know, maybe back when T.O. was playing or Ocho Cinco, those two guys got to new teams and it was Big Harold and, you know, it was a huge deal. And then they kind of somehow, like with the Eagles, T.O. kind of blew that up a little bit, right? So maybe back then, you know, 05 or so, that would have been a big deal, but not anymore. There's just not that many big name moves that we can point to that the players aren't quarterbacks.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think that was a really cool award. I'm glad that we got to talk about that one. The next award that we're gonna go to is our who made the mac and cheese, right? So I know some of these are negative. We'll get to some positive ones in a little bit as well. But who made the mac and cheese? You know, like when you go to Thanksgiving and there's that mac and cheese, it's just not right. Like it's just much milk. It's like watery or it's overly dry. Like it's hard. The macaroni, you got to chew it forever. Like you spit out the hard pieces, like who made that? No salt seasoning. What is going on with this mac and cheese? This award goes to the worst coach or the worst offense coordinator, defensive coordinator. This is where this award sits. So what are your thoughts with this specific award? Who are you giving the worst coach award for? Who made this mac and cheese, this bland, tasteless monstrosity of yellow and whatever, the beige, whatever it is? So who are you giving this award to, Jeremy?
So, as a kind of a background, listeners, whoever's listening to this, Paul has some food issues. He's very discerning about his food. The man didn't like tomatoes and vegetables for the longest time. So that's why you're getting a lot of these food related things that are like, yo, who cooked the food? That's all Paul. It works out to our benefit somehow though. But going on to this topic, I can only think of one coach who really did mess up the mac and cheese this year, he tried to cook it, didn't work out, and he somehow decided that he would probably serve it in one of his restaurants, I imagine, or his bar. That would be Urban Meyer. I think he was gone off the mac and cheese when he was making them decisions that night. So I think it's Urban Meyer. And It's not that the team has been terrible, right? They haven't been absolutely terrible because they're not the worst record-wise team in the league, but he's drawn some negative attention to himself. He's looked bad. He's made his own job security look terrible, like worse than, say, the Jets coach or worse than even the Lions coach. So he's looked worse than any other coach this year. So that's why I say he wins the who brought the mac and cheese, because not only is his team not great, but he's made an entire media spectacle of himself, drawing negative attention toward the team.
That was a good one. I wish I would have thought about that one. I did not think about that one, but I think that might be the award, because what he's brought to the team, it hasn't been enough, right? Like if they were winning games, Jacksonville was winning games and Trevor Lawrence was developing and all of this stuff was okay, maybe he could squeak past that little issue that he had, but we all saw the video. We all know what happened on that video. I'm like, man, if you don't push this person away, like I got a wife, man. I got a wife. Back up. I ain't got no time for you, right? So, anyways, I thought that was actually an interesting pick. I really like that one. Urban Myers has a lot of stuff that he needs to get better at with the team. One of the things that Jeremy was talking about last week was if Urban Myers was that coach with that continuity, right, he probably would have got Justin Fields, right, because he knows how he is and all this other stuff. Shout out to Justin Fields for doing what he's doing, right? But they have Trevor Lawrence, who everybody knew he was going to go there, but you haven't seen enough of development from Trevor Lawrence. And then also the whole Urban Meyer, he got one win early on in a foreign game, right, or an international game, right, over the Dolphins. And that was a surprise, right? Like nobody even saw that. Like they still shouldn't have won that game, right? Like Jacksonville was not the better team in that game. So yeah, I think that's a really good pick. My pick, right, and we can talk more about the other one as well. My pick is actually the team that they lost to or that they beat. And this is Brian Flores? Or Brian Flores? Yeah. Flores? Yeah. Brian Flores with the Miami Dolphins. This dude, I won't say he's a horrible coach, but this year, like, I do not like what he's doing. He has Tal out there throwing more passes than Tom Brady. He has him throwing like one of the leading amount of passes in the NFL this season. And they do it every single play. I remember there were some games where I saw Myles Gaskins get like 3-4 carries or so, and he's their leading back. The other backs had the same or less, and I think that's one of the things is that they know how to lose games. And if you saw that game that was international, I can't remember what was it that happened. What did they go for it on some type of 4th and 1 multiple times and got stopped when they shouldn't have? Like it was just ridiculous. And I think that right there kind of sealed it for me that this dude is making mistakes and he needs to get better because, that was just a ridiculous loss. So because of his inability to make the correct adjustments, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Brian Flores.
Yeah, I think Brian Flores is suffering from expectations. There's quite a burden of expectation on him because they won 10 games last season, I think it was, right? So coming off of a great season that no one expected, everyone said, well, Brian Flores is finally the Belichick disciple who's actually good. And so for whatever reason, we thought the Dolphins were going to win 12, 13 games this year.
Yeah.
I had them winning 10. So, just based on the schedule, I thought, hey, maybe they could do it. They seem to be strong and building from last year, but they just haven't been able to do it. And that's what happens when you have expectations. If he were expected to win 2 games this year and he's won the 3 or whatever they've won this year, it'd be fine. But based on what he did last year, people thought it was repeatable. They thought he was actually brilliant, right? So that's yet to be seen. I do think that their quarterback is kind of holding the team back a little bit, and their commitment to him might be a little bit of an issue. So I'm sure within the next, couple of games, they're going to have to do more reevaluating the quarterback position. But aside from that, I think he can rebound, because if you've done it before, you can do it again. They just need Fitzpatrick again.
Are they going to bring back Ryan Fitzpatrick this year? Is that what they need to do?
That's what they need to do. I think he had a hip injury or something like that. He's like out for the season. He had something happen. Some basically being too old in a normal injury that turned into a really bad one, I think. So
Yeah.
if he could go back, I think he would, because they made some, he had some Fitz magic there, right? So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick really does a lot of really good stuff, right? He just never can stick around, right? Like, he's the hippest, coolest guy that's out there that just sometimes he just turns up, and then other times he just turns out. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, his ceiling is really high, but his floor is really low. So that's kind of the issue with him.
All right, cool. You ready for our next award, Jeremy?
Yeah. So thanks to the 2 coaches who made the mac and cheese. I'm telling you, Urban is serving it up in his bars right now.
All right, cool. That is actually funny. So the next award goes to, actually, I'll introduce the award. So the next award is Cousin's New Girlfriend. So this is the Cousin's New Girlfriend award. This goes to the player or team that this goes to the player or team says they feel good about, but we all know it won't work out, right? So that one is like, oh, you got a new girlfriend again on Thanksgiving? Like, what happened to the one last
She's
year?
the one.
You're like, oh,
She's the one.
It's good to see you again, baby. Well, how you doing? It's like, this is not her. This is not her. Like,
Yeah, this ain't her, but she's the one.
This ain't her. Yeah. Always a new one, So who is that? Who gets that award? The player team says they feel good about, but we know it won't work out.
I think so. For this team, we've already seen some dominoes falling. We've seen the offensive coordinator get canned. He's done. I think the coach is going to leave. I think the quarterback's going to leave. That's the New York Giants. And the player is Daniel Jones. I'm sorry. I know you love you some Danny Dimes, but I think it's not going to work out. I don't think Daniel Jones is the one. I think he's got the athleticism, so he likes to run and sometimes maybe relies on that too much. You've seen him break off some big runs, but he likes to turn the ball over. He fumbles so much. He throws a lot of interceptions at inopportune moments. It's just, he's a turnover machine. The offense doesn't look great, and I know that's not on him, but I think he is the player specifically that I look at and say that's not going to work. So I'm sorry, Dave Gettleman. He brought Daniel Jones to the Thanksgiving dinner, and we're like, dude, that's not going to work, man. I mean, you tried this before. It's just not going to work. So I'll give it a year. So that's it. That's what we all say, right? So that's what's going on there. I think it's Daniel Jones and the New York Giants.
This is an interesting award because I think there's a lot of people that could have got this award. For example, one of the guys that I thought that hasn't really done it too well, that a lot of people kind of expected, but they're like, oh, come on. Julio Jones was one, so he was in the running because he really just, I don't know. I just don't know where that's going to go. The other one could be Jared Goff, right? Jared Goff is an excellent situation where they brought him on. They're like, oh yeah, Jared Goff, we think he can. No, you don't. You don't think Jared Goff can do that. But mine actually goes to the worst team in the NFL. I'll say they're the worst, but I'm going to go with the New York Jets and Zach Wilson. I think that they keep saying that he's going to work out, right? This is our quarterback. This is our future. This guy, we drafted him high. We came up with this. Listen, he doesn't have it, and I don't think that he'll ever have it. I feel like he's going to be another one of those Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold types where they come into the league with all this hype because of what they did in college, but it's not the same game, and that's what people don't understand is that what you're able to do in college and what you're able to do in the NFL are going to be totally different, right? You can't be off with your passes. You can't be rattled by hits or by pressure because that stuff's going to come to you. And I don't think that Zach Wilson has that next level. So when the Jets brought him to Thanksgiving, everybody's like, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't think she the one, you know? So
like,
I think
didn't you bring Sam last year?
Yeah, then you bring Sam. Yeah, you brought Sam. Now you bring in Zach. Like, what's going on? You know, so he's just the one that's holding that spot for right now. But he'll be gone. You know, just think about it. This year, there's not that many quarterbacks that are going to be coming out in the draft that are going to be that good. So maybe he gets one more year. Maybe he grows a little bit. But the year after, there's going to be a lot more solid quarterbacks that are coming out. And I can see him being kicked out or traded away for fourth, fifth round pick or something like that, just because I don't think that he has what it takes to lead a New York team. Like I don't think there's a lot of quarterbacks that can really just go to New York and just kill it. You know, like you have to have confidence. You have to have swagger. You have to have something to be a quarterback in New York. And there's just nothing memorable about Zach Wilson, you know? So I think that for me, Zach Wilson gets this award for the cousin's new girlfriend, the one that we just know it's not going to work out, and we just see it. Everybody sees it. So,
yeah, I think the issue with Zach Wilson was the pick was just such a reach. Like the Jets were just outthinking the room. You know, like, hey, you don't have to do something so clever that you're patting yourself on the back. Just pick one of the top guys. All right. They skipped everybody. Everybody that came after Zach Wilson was rated higher than him, I'm pretty sure. And at number 2, they decided to go with the guy that people were like, why did you pick him? The guy who's really good outside of the pocket? I don't know. I don't get it. What exactly caused them to pick him? But they were outthinking the room. They were trying to be too clever, be too cute with the pick, and it didn't make sense. And, you know, it's not his fault for being picked at number 2. So all the expectations that come with that, that's not on him, but it makes it look different, right? It heaps a lot more expectation, and if he doesn't do well, it's going to make him look worse when he probably should have just gone much later because he didn't come from a major program, you know? Like BYU is good, but, you know, Mac Jones was obviously more prepared for high-level football, just as an example. So there's some, you know, some players, you know, are used to that level, and then some players just aren't. So it's not on him, but it was a reach. It wasn't the best pick, and you know, if it doesn't work out, the Jets can only really blame themselves.
Yeah, I feel like he definitely got a lot of hype. I don't know if it was his agent or, like I said, Mel Kiper. You know, Mel Kiper is always like, Zach Wilson can't miss. You know, like I scout a lot of quarterback. Mel, shut up, man. You are not that good at scouting quarterbacks. I know a lot of names that you called out that have done nothing in this league. So if Mel Kiper says a quarterback is good, if you don't feel like he's good, he probably ain't. So that's what I'll say with that one.
Shots fired, Mel Kiper.
Shots fired,
Mel Kiper. Wow.
He's gonna let me tell you something. All right, bro. Anyway, so we just got to that one. Oh, quick question. I'm gonna throw in a curveball right now. So this is that extra little snack dessert that somebody brought, but they didn't bring enough of it, so only a few people got to try it out, and everybody's like, what happened to the cake, man?
How you only make 4 deviled eggs?
Who make 4 deviled eggs? Yeah, who only made 4 deviled eggs? So I'm gonna add this one on right now, but it's more of a topic of conversation. Speaking of this cousin's new girlfriend type of thing, what do you think about OBJ to the Rams? Is he going to be one of these guys that's going to be the cousin's new girlfriend type of thing, or do
That
you
is
think
my
that it's gonna
second
work out?
entry. That is my second entry on the list
Hey,
because
wow,
yeah, I can see that not working out very quickly and them just moving on. I think as weird as it is, like OBJ is kind of running out of teams, for whatever
yeah,
reason. I just think probably because since he left New York, the injuries have kind of piled up and people don't even realize it that he's been like hurt, and
hmm
maybe not able physically to perform at his top level.
yeah,
And so with him making kind of demands to get the ball more, but not being able to play at the highest level possible, I think it does kind of put him in the doghouse a little bit and alienates him from the team. So I could see this not working out, and then it'll be a real quick turnaround where he's gone, and it won't be much to do about it. It'll just be it, So maybe he ends up in Minnesota or something like that. But I can see this not working out. And so yeah, I had that on my list too.
awesome. Um, so I'm glad that we got to talk about that. Yeah, I think OBJ. I'm not sure how it's gonna go. I feel like there's too many questions. I feel like he's gonna try to go out there and be a really good wide receiver. You know what it kind of reminds me of? You remember when Chad Ochocinco, or Ochocinco or Chad or whatever he goes by? You remember when his career was starting to get to the end, and then he was trying to go to teams but never could really fit. Like he's kind of changed around the way that he was trying to be more respectful, but it just never really clicked,
Yeah,
And I
like
feel like,
Patriots.
yeah, I feel like that might be what ends up happening to blah blah blah
OBJ.
OBJ, right? So I feel like that could be one of the things that we see happening. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'll be on the lookout to see what happens with OBJ. So all right, let me see. Is there one more that I wanted to add in right away? All right. So our next topic, our next category is going to be uh, collard greens of glory, right? Those collard greens where it's just like, man, they've been seasoned perfectly. Like, oh, have the bacon in them. They have like the seasoning, the salt, the pepper, got some little hot sauce on the side, just making them that beautiful thing where it just gets on your plate and you're just like, all right, I got to go back and get seconds of them greens. The ones where you take a whole plate of them home, so that a plate of, or not a plate of them, a cup of them, get that styrofoam cup and then take that cup
Yeah,
home.
because you're gonna get the juice coming off if you put them in a plate.
Yeah, those be the ones where you're up there eating the collard greens, you go and you leave and you see somebody making a plate to go already. And you're like, why are you taking all the greens, man? Like, oh, I gotta take some for my family. Like, man, listen, if they ain't make it here, you need to leave them greens be because we need to eat them up. Don't be selfish with the greens, bro. So, anyways, the collard greens of glory is gonna go to the best addition to a team this year. So who are you taking for this award? Who's been the best addition to a team? And who wins this award for you?
I got to go with Mac Jones. I'm just gonna go out with it. Mac Jones. I think we talked about Cam and how I thought that kind of the move for Cam in hindsight wasn't so great. Well, I think the move for Mac Jones, I think, was one of the smartest moves because they filled the hole that they needed to with the type of player that they needed to put in that position. Cam in New England was always kind of not a great fit because the personality that he had to be kind of damp down a little bit. He had to suppress his natural inclination to be showy and flashy and all that stuff. And so I think when you put Mac Jones in the system, first of all, just because he's young and he's easily molded, that's good. And you can just say, hey, chill out. Don't do that flashy stuff. Second of all, he's used to that coming from Alabama and Nick Saban. So all of it just worked. So I think getting Mac Jones was the best addition for a team. And whether it's schedule or whether it's rounding into shape, New England is hot now all of a sudden. And so they're leading the division. They're coming out of nowhere. People didn't expect this. So clearly it worked. So I'm going with Mac Jones as the best collard greens. So that's what it is.
Yeah, I think Mac Jones is a good pick. I still don't like the necessarily the way that he's playing, but I think it doesn't necessarily matter if he's an amazing quarterback, right? They need a game manager that can grow. And just having him there has allowed them to open up their offense. Their defense has been really, really solid. So, I'm all for Mac Jones winning that award for you, and I think that I'm excited to see what he does with the rest of his career. Like I said, he's not been a quarterback that I thought was going to be super good, and I still don't know if he's really that good, but he is getting wins, and if you get wins, hey, I can't hate on that. I can't hate on that at all. So Mac Jones is definitely an interesting pick. I was gonna do for my pick. I was gonna go with Matt Stafford, right? And I think that I'll start with this one, then I'll get to the actual one. I think Matt Stafford is actually a very good pick for this one because what he does with the Rams actually helps out a ton. It goes way more with their offense, what they want to do. And when you have a coach that's as strong as McVay, I think that having a quarterback that can win you games, that can make plays, especially with those wide receivers, is an amazing thing. If Robert Woods wouldn't have went down, maybe they would have had a better team and maybe he would have won this trophy. But the pick that I'm going to go with is Devontae Smith with the Philadelphia Eagles. We hadn't really talked about as many skill positions sometimes, but I think that people don't realize what he's opened up for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, like I said, is not the most dominant quarterback. He's not necessarily the most accurate. He doesn't get the ball out super quick. His passing skills are kind of whatever, But when you have a guy like Devontae Smith that can get open, right, that can catch whatever types of passes, specifically in that offense, it gives them another level. It adds that depth. We all see Jalen Hurts running the ball, but where would he be without Devontae Smith opening up that offense, catching those passes in the end zone, those tough catches? And, there was a lot of questions about Devontae Smith. Was he going to be able to last in the league? Smaller frame. Can he take a hit? And I think that he's proven a lot of people wrong and showing that he is a next level type of guy. And I think that for me, with him being in that offense with their specific types of limitations, I think that he is going to be my pick for the collard greens of glory. So shout out to him with what he's done so far. Not even sure if he'll get the best wide receiver rookie award, but he definitely added the most to his team as far as an individual addition for me.
I like the fact that these Heisman Trophy winners, as of late, I feel like have been playing really well. I feel like, maybe even 10, 15 years ago, it was kind of a 50-50 shot as to whether the Heisman Trophy winner would actually be good.
Yeah.
But, Devontae Smith just came in and just, boom, he's good already. And Derrick Henry, we know what Derrick Henry does. So he's already, just like dominating even as when he came out of college. So a lot of these recent Heisman Trophy winners have been really good. There haven't been many that you were just thinking, well, that was kind of a bad Heisman Trophy pick. So I really like that. It's nice. And maybe they're getting it right.
I like that. Yeah, I definitely think that he's a good one. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen. So let's see. What other one do we? Oh, I forget how we titled that one.
What is it? Your side dish?
Oh, yeah. So what the side dish of the night award, right? So the side dish that you quietly covet, the one that you're looking forward to, even though it's not the main dish. It's like those leftover dishes, those little mini cookies that are just there or something, right? Like the ones where you're just like, oh, this is a nice little treat. I know I can't really indulge all the way because I have like other stuff that I have to eat, but I want just like a little bit of that one, like when you have like blood sugar or something like which you like, I gotta get some of this sweets, man. I gotta get some of these sweets, bruh. Like when you had that, that side dish, that thing that you like to indulge in. So this is actually for that favorite team that is not your top team that you like to watch, right? So who wins your side dish of the world side dish of the world award, I guess. So who
it's kind of been two, and there's kind of two teams, and I'll just go with one of them real quick. A team that like I'm drawn to, I don't know why, but I want to see them play and I want to see them succeed is the Saints. I'm always for some reason just drawn to them, it's been just kind of it's been a struggle since earlier in the year, and even when Jameis was in, they weren't playing super well, and then he got hurt, and it kind of just made you doubt their chances at all. But I'm always rooting for the Saints. I always want to see the Saints play well. And all of their seasons in the past few years seems like they've ended in a just really sad, dramatic fashion. So it'd be nice to see them play well and to succeed and to get back to the Super Bowl. I don't know how likely that is, but I always have a soft spot for the Saints, at least as of late.
Yeah. I think the Saints, especially, I really like Drew Brees, boiler up, so I really like them. And then I didn't know what they were going to necessarily do once he was gone. They had this whole Jameis thing starting, which was kind of, then they just paid Taysom Hill a crazy contract, especially if he becomes their starting quarterback in like 4 years, 95 million. Did he really? I guess, whatever, but I'm not going with them personally. I do think that they're a fun team to watch. I like their defense. I like Kamara when he's healthy, Michael Thomas when he's healthy. A lot of these guys just haven't necessarily been there throughout the season. I know what Jeremy's thinking for this one. I'm probably going to go with the Vikings, but I'm not going to go with the Vikings. I do support the Vikings. I do like what they do. But my side team actually is doing really well this year, and that is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. I really like what the Cardinals do. I like their high-powered offense. I like Rondale Moore. You guys have heard me say that multiple times. I think they have a lot of really interesting playmakers. Even Christian Kirk, I like what he does. He was a really good college player with was Texas, right? And just going
A&M, I think.
Texas A&M, yeah, Texas A&M, right? And then going from Texas A&M as kind of like a running back style wide receiver. Now you have two of those kind of guys, and you have Chase Edmonds back there when he's healthy. You have James Conner in there still getting things done. You have AJ Green, DeAndre Hopkins, right? You have Tyrann Mathieu, whatever. And then you have Kyler Murray, right? So you have this whole team of really interesting playmaking type of guys. And I think they're very fun to watch. So I low-key want them to do really well. I had them doing fairly good this season. So I'm glad that they're succeeding. I don't know what's going to happen when Kyler's not there because, Colt McCoy, we said it. He had one good game, and that was going to be it. So we'll see what happens with them. I hope that they're able to build that momentum back up. I hope that Kyler actually can stay healthy because that team definitely needs him to be in the quarterback position making those plays. So Kyler Murray is one of those guys that I think he definitely adds that excitement to that team. So my guilty pleasure type team is the Arizona Cardinals. They win my side dish of Thanksgiving award.
Yeah, and my second side dish would be the Colts, actually. So they're always exciting to watch. There's always something at stake, and they've been so crazy up and down this year roller coaster that it's been an interesting ride when I have nothing at stake. So that's another side dish that I like.
Nice. The next award that we have, I think we only have two more awards. Wow. Okay. So the next one is actually a fun award. This is one that is derived from a movie. This one is called the Cuddin Pete Award. So if you guys know who Cuddin Pete is, if you guys know that scene, then you know what this is about. So
Cuddin Pete.
So this comes from what was Poetic Justice, right?
Poetic Justice.
Poetic Justice. If everybody remembers Poetic Justice, you remember when Tupac went to the family reunion that wasn't his, and it's like, whose son is you? Cuddin Pete, man, Cuddin Pete. That was a fun scene. So the Cuddin Pete award goes to that person that ain't really supposed to be there, but just came along because things look fun. So this is your Ring Chaser of the Year award. Who? I'll say you can take it different ways. You can say the Ring Chaser that did it right, that went to the right team, that went about it the right way, or you can just talk about the most annoying Ring Chaser that's been out there. So what are you thinking? Who's the Ring Chaser of the Year Cuddin Pete award going to for you this year, Jeremy?
The NFL, this is not as easy to identify as, say, the NBA. And I think there's only two teams that really have ring chasers on them in a sense. So for me, it's a Los Angeles Ram It's either them or Tampa Bay, right? It's a Ram. I think it's Matthew Stafford. I think,
Mm,
Stafford, his whole career has been on a bad team, and no one ever has given him flack. And we've talked about this before. I was like, nobody begrudges Stafford for Detroit losing. Like, they just don't feel bad about, like, no one's mad at
yeah.
Stafford. So I think a lot of people were happy to see him go to a team that he could possibly win a Super Bowl with. And that's good. But then we've seen him play, and he's been playing well against bad teams. But the times that he's lost, these last couple games, he's looked terrible. And he even didn't look great against Tampa. He threw a couple crazy passes that got completed, and then they won the game because of a few plays here or there that maybe had they been intercepted or incompleted, it would have changed the entire game. So he's making not great decisions. He's getting tackled and throwing the ball on the way down and throwing pick sixes and stuff. So maybe it was Stafford. Maybe it wasn't just the Lions, right? Maybe it was actually Stafford. And so I feel like, okay, Stafford's coming along for the ride. He needs to take a big role because he's the quarterback, but I'm not sure if he's exactly going to be able to lead his team there. But I think he kind of came along. He's like, hey, I'm in. Everybody's here. We going to the Super Bowl. I'm here. Let's do it. So he's the Cuddin Pete. That's him.
And Peter Ward going to Matt Stafford of the Los Angeles Rams for Jeremy. For me, this one, I like that. If I had to pick one, I can't pick OBJ because it's too fresh. But he gave a list of the teams that he wanted to go to and said that I want to rent a ring. I want to, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, you need to perform at a high level before you talk about what you're gonna be trying to get. So I don't think that he is eligible all the way just yet, because we haven't really got to see what he could do. But what I will do is I'll say a quarterback that did something similar to the one that you're talking about, right? Matt Stafford was with the Lions, didn't really do well. Everybody blamed the Lions team, and now you see Matt Stafford is having some of those issues with the Rams. But I still think that he's good. I think that, like I said, Robert Woods going down is definitely one of those things when you're talking about those quick timing routes with those quick receivers with good hands. I think that kind of hurt the flow of their team a little bit. But the guy that I'm going to go with is Carson Wentz, man. Carson Wentz wanted to be saved. Should I save her? No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, as in, don't save her. She don't want to be saved.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to say Carson Wentz, right? And I think that the specifics is Carson Wentz cries. He cries. He cried when he was in Philadelphia, had to get out of there. Like, I want to start. Like, he doesn't do it for me, and I think that when he came to the Colts, everybody was like, yeah, like, I can go to the Colts. I'm reunited with my old coach. They have a line that can actually block for me. Well, it doesn't matter if you're holding the ball all game long. You just went to that team because you thought that they had a good chance. But again, you are the issue. You are the problem. And you win the Cuddin Pete Award this year for the ring chaser, the guy that wanted to join a very solid team. And if you think about the Colts, right, they're one of those teams that had a lot of potential, right? This year, they came in, they lost their quarterback, Phillip Rivers, to retirement because he was old. And so now they needed somebody, and they went all in getting Matt Stafford. They gave a pickup last year. Now they're probably going to give up the first round pick this year for a guy that was just really trying to be a ring chaser. And he's kind of throwing off the flow of the Colts at times. And I think that that's one of the things that bothers me about how he plays. Has he had good moments? Yes. Does he play hero ball? Yes. Is he good at hero ball? No, he is not. And I think that that's why he wins it for me. So Carson Wentz, you win the Cuddin Pete Award for the guy that's just coming along that ain't really supposed to be there, but he's taking advantage of what the team has. And shout out to Jonathan Taylor for doing what he's done so far this year.
Yeah, so I think what's going to happen is at the end of this year, we're going to ask them to figure out who they belong to, right? We're going to ask them to produce a family tree or something. They got to identify who they belong to, or else they got to go. They got to leave the party, and they can't just be chasing rings again. So we'll see. We'll see who they belong to, what part of the family they're in.
Yeah. All right. Well, shout out to Cuddin Pete. Now we are to our last award, and this one's actually a little bit more of a positive type of thing. This is more of appreciation type of thing. This is the Golden Turkey Leg Award, and this goes to the top player in the NFL so far this season. So there's a lot of guys that are out there, right, that have done a lot, that have helped out their team, right, that has pulled them to that next level. For you, Jeremy, who are you thinking about for this Golden Turkey Leg Award? Who earns this one? Who wins this one for you?
I love that we tried to pardon the turkey earlier. Turkey did not get pardoned because we eat the turkey leg now, and it's delicious. So the golden turkey leg this year for me goes to Derrick Henry. I think, there are two candidates for this one, and you mentioned one just a minute ago from your own Colts team.
Yeah.
Well, we look at Jonathan Taylor's numbers. It took him 2 extra games, right, to equal Derrick Henry's output after Derrick Henry was injured. And I know you mentioned, you're like, well, Derrick Henry gets certain usage. I mean, Jonathan Taylor has a really high yards per carry average, right? That's understandable. But just the fact that Derrick Henry is such a workhorse, and if he weren't running to the ground already this year, he would be putting up crazy numbers again. So I think just the fact that it took Jonathan Taylor a couple more games to even catch up to Henry shows how great of a season Derrick Henry was having before he hurt his foot. So I'm going to go with Derrick Henry. He's been working his butt off and carrying that team, and we'll see if they're the same without him. But you got to respect what he's done this past year just until he got hurt.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick. I do talk about the usage. I do talk about how much he's been doing. I do talk about how his last few games he really didn't do as much. Maybe that injury had already happened. Not necessarily sure, but what he's shown is that he's a very strong player, and that team is totally different without him in the lineup. Now we're starting to see teams playing against him, right? Like now they know what Tannehill can do. Now they know how the teams are going to attack. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Titans can do for the rest of the year, right? Tannehill won one game, but lost another one through a bunch of picks. And I think that having Henry there definitely takes away a lot of that, because even if Henry doesn't do good, even if he was hurt, that fear that he puts into different teams is one of those things that you can't take away. So shout out to Derrick Henry. Jeremy's giving you the Golden Turkey Leg of the Year award. So good job so far. Get healthy. And I'm actually going to go with the guy that Jeremy just talked about, the other one, Jonathan Taylor. If the Colts didn't have Jonathan Taylor, right, they wouldn't even be in the position that they were. Like, even with the bad play from Carson Wentz, or I'll say mediocre play, he's still in the bottom half of NFL quarterbacks. Even with that, Jonathan Taylor is running through teams like a hot knife through butter. That boy is bad. He's just he did a high step the other day and just made the dude look stupid, bro. Like, he is nasty, So I think that Jonathan Taylor is next level. And just to think, he's only in his second year, right? Second year. And that was an amazing pick. They traded up in the second round to come and get him. And yeah, man, he's a very dynamic player. And I'm so glad that he's a part of our team. I'm so glad that the Colts are trying to use the run game more often. And I think that if he continues to have the same type of success he does, he's going to continue breaking records. He's already been breaking records so far this season. And I think that that's just going to keep going on. I hope that he stays healthy. And if he can, I'm all for it. Don't count the Colts out for a late season push. Don't count them out for the Super Bowl, as long as Carson Wentz doesn't mess up something, which I just have a feeling he will, but I'm gonna hope that he doesn't. So keep feeding the ball to Jonathan Taylor. Let the offense run through him. If he's doing good, you may have that Derrick Henry effect where now the wide receivers are getting open. Shout out to Michael Pittman with what he's been doing for the Colts. Let's go. So Jonathan Taylor wins my award. What are you thinking about that, Jeremy, with the Golden Turkey Leg going to Jonathan Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor was my second pick. And the only reason was based on the logic that I said, that the output for Derrick Henry was so high that it took Derrick Henry a few games to catch up. So for players that are active now, yes, Jonathan Taylor is the most important to his team. And as long as they keep using him and not throwing passes at weird times in the fourth quarter instead of running the ball, I think the Colts will be good.
Shout out to that. Shout out to the Colts. I'm happy with where we are position wise. A lot of momentum. A lot of teams probably don't want to see the Colts right now. So we'll see what happens with that one. So Awesome. Well, I think that was a fun little show. It's a fun little segment that started out with our Turkey Day, Thanksgiving Day awards uh, for Beyond Sports with Paul and Jeremy 2021. Um, what was your favorite award, Jeremy? Which one was the best competition, or which one did you like talking about the most?
I don't know. I think when you went off about sides for a while, I don't know, there's a couple ones you were just going on about, and it was good to see just to see you go off on stuff like that. So I don't even remember which one it was, but you had a lot prepared for introducing these topics. So I think that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I liked a lot of them. I like the Collard Greens Award. I like the Cousin's New Girlfriend, the Karen's like they were all pretty good and fun to talk about. I'm glad that we get to do some of these types of shows because it lets us be ourselves, have a little joking in there, and just do a little bit of fun. All in all, though, I want to thank everybody for listening to that part and joining. Please join the discussion, share this show, and let other people know because I know that we all have some of those types of situations that we talked about. So. I hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving, and we appreciate you watching. Outside of that, I just want to say thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for checking out our Thanksgiving special. If you guys saw that with our themes and our awards, shout out to all the award winners that won the good awards and condolences to the ones that did not. Outside of that,
Yeah,
like I said,
it's all fun. It's all good. And seeing as this is Thanksgiving, I'm just thankful that we get to keep doing the show and we're having a good time. So I'm just thankful for that. So, hey, that's just me.
Awesome. With that said, this is Beyond Sports with Paul and Jeremy. Thank you guys for checking out the show. Have an awesome holiday, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.
All right. Peace. Happy Thanksgiving.